It has been over a year since I last made a video talking about Panty and Stalking Season 2, and now when everyone least expected it on Christmas, Trigger has finally given us the long-awaited teaser trailer for new Panty and Stalking with Garter Belt, and it was everything I could have wanted from a trailer that wasn't even a minute and a half long. Many people, myself included, have been wondering what format this sequel series will be, with it either being an episodic adventure like the original, or a narrative-focused adventure after what happened with the original series cliffhanger. And from what I was able to gather from this teaser, it looks like it's going to be episodic like the first series, as there is a brief frame where we can see Panty and Stalking cordially hanging out together, which means that the cliffhanger ending in some way got retconned, which is what drove the theory that this series would have a more narrative focus in the first place. I don't doubt that there will be more story though, as this teaser more than likely intentionally didn't reveal much about what this show's premise is going to be, and it's still possible that they are just hiding the scenes that hint at the story more, and it could be like the first series where it's mostly episodic, but has 3 to 4 episodes actually dedicated to a story. That being said, in the beginning of the teaser, the narrator didn't reveal much outside of the fact that Panty and Stalking will be hunting ghosts at some point, which was the original series premise, and that premise resulted in the episodic format we ended up getting. This is even further confirmed as we see Stalking catching a heaven coin which she can only get by killing ghosts, but more interestingly, we see Scanty catching a coin of her own, which is colored red, and I can only assume is a hell coin. This is probably the biggest reveal in this teaser, as we have never seen hell coins before, and the fact that Stalking and Scanty are working together raises more questions than answers, as they are collecting their coins together simultaneously, meaning that whatever they were fighting were both forces of heaven and hell, possibly working together to defeat Scanty and Stalking. Speaking of Scanty, what surprised me the most about this teaser is how it had such a heavy emphasis on the Demon Sisters to the point where they overshadowed Panty and Stalking themselves. Scanty and Nisox quickly became fan favorite characters and were foils to Panty and Stalking in about every way, but it's worth remembering that these two characters weren't introduced till halfway through the original series, so based on how these two are being marketed, nearly as much as the titular duo are, shows that Trigger is taking into account the popularity these two garnered, which is always a good sign as it proves that the studio appeasing the fan base is a priority to them. As for the Demon Sisters themselves, the most obvious change is that in place of their sand-colored outfits, they are now wearing what looks to be a very dark brown variation of the same outfit, which of everything we have seen from the new Panty and Stalking is the only thing I can confidently say I dislike. I think them getting an outfit change is nice, but the brown just doesn't contrast visually well with their red skin, and I really wish that Trigger would have just gone with a black or dark yellow color palette instead. Still, it is worth noting that during the character title cards, you can actually see Scanty and Nisox wearing their original outfits, which makes me wonder if they start off wearing their original outfits and swap them out later, or if they just wear these new outfits in a single episode, as every scene where they are wearing these new outfits all look like they come from the same episode, as two scenes look like each pair of sisters are driving down an interior hallway, and another scene looks like it takes place in a men's bathroom, which makes me think that these scenes all take place in the school and is a sort of callback to episode 6 when Panty and Stalking battled Scanty and Nisox for the first time. Outside of those scenes, however, we do see Scanty and Nisox go through some outfit changes, like them wearing maid outfits in what looks like a nightclub or a grand premiere, and we see Scanty wearing a karate outfit alongside Stalking, which is pretty unusual, as in the original series Scanty almost exclusively interacted solely with Panty, while Stalking almost solely interacted with Nisox, so it's nice to see the new series exploring dynamics between characters who never got much screen time together. This alliance, however, does either seem to be temporary or come later in the series, as at one point in the trailer, one of the Demon Sisters says that they can't kill humans, but they can kill angels, which obviously means there is still a feud between each pair, but I find it strange that the Demon Sisters would even want to kill humans, as that has never been an objective of theirs, which could hint that humanity plays a larger role in this series than they did in the original. The last thing of any note about the Demon Sisters is that thankfully, Scanty doesn't have the Panty scar on her face like she did at the end of the original series. I think the idea behind the Panty scar was funny, but it wasn't all that visually appealing. Although there is a way that the Panty scar could still be canon, as it makes sense for someone like Scanty to wear makeup to cover it up, which could lead to a reoccurring joke of the makeup getting washed off once in a while, and everyone making fun of her, which I think would be a good middle ground. But notably, the Demon Sisters aren't the only ones who got redesigned, as Garterbelt now has lips that match his skin tone instead of the pink colored lips he had in the original series, which I could imagine some people might have a problem with, as a large part of this series' appeal was how confident it was with being offensive, and obviously that character design was that to a T, but I wouldn't worry about it too much. I too have been concerned about how this series' comedy will be handled in the modern world. The first YouTube video I ever made addresses this issue, but when it comes down to it, it's the writing everyone wants to see be uncensored, and that's what we should be focusing on being concerned about. Garterbelt's redesign could be a sign that this new series won't be unapologetically offensive like the original, but the character design team and writing team are two different departments, and if we are being honest with ourselves, Garterbelt's new design does just look more visually appealing than the original, and I would like to think that is the only reason it was changed and not for any political reasons. And I am only more reassured of this once we get to the voice actor interview section of the teaser, as everything of note that was said helped alleviate my concern about how this series will be handled. Scanty's voice actress states that she's glad it's not changed, and the crazier they go, the more people will love it, which basically summarizes what everyone wanted to hear. We, the fans, want this series to be like the original, and for it to continue being as insane as it was, because that's what its main appeal was, and Nisok's voice actress doubles down on this sentiment as she says there's no such thing as too much, and Garterbelt's voice actor brings it home by straight up saying it can't be aired through over-the-air television, and that it's more than enough. I know these are interviews specifically tailored to generate hype by telling the audience what they want to hear, but by having 3 voice actors emphasize this point, it proves that Trigger knows its audience and what they want, and that should be the #1 priority of any studio when creating a respectful and worthy sequel series. Stalking's voice actress goes on to say that it won't betray expectations, and Brief's voice actor then says it's truly Panty and Stalking. Again, Trigger would not tell their voice actors to say these statements if they didn't know why Panty and Stalking became so popular in the West in the first place, and why there has been a demand for its return for 14 years. This is exactly how you make a teaser trailer. It showed enough while not spoiling anything major, while also promising to the audience that the studio knows what the fans want, and that was their priority when creating the new Panty and Stalking. I was excited before this teaser, but I was also outspokenly skeptical. But this teaser addressed that skepticism head on while giving us great visuals of beautiful animation and color variety that is staying true to the original product, and raised my expectations to a new high that, knowing Studio Trigger and Hiroyuki Imaishi, will be met, and more than likely exceeded.
Yes! Yes! Yes!